Chapter 16. A Noxious Vine. Both Red and Clancy rode upon the backs of mules whose hooves laid down 2 rows of tracks, on saturated ground, red Georgia clay, although it was a dog that led the way. Since men like Red detested idle chatter that filled the empty air with pointless blather, Clancy rode in silence, for he knew he shouldn't speak till he was spoken to. Along the way to town his paw assessed each home, how some were damaged, some were blessed. And when they passed the home of Pearl McMaster, they saw how some were spared from true disaster. Behind her house a grove of Georgia pine was tightly tangled with a noxious vine, a most invasive weed that thrived and spread, spiraling up the trunks from root to head. So when the wind leaned on these weakened trees, one mighty pine succumbed to its disease. And even then, the vine would not release its selfish grip to give the fallen peace. The tree that stood for lifetimes graced the ground and scarcely missed her house on its way down. McMaster, who had newly lost her spouse, was spared from losing her entire house. Her chicken coop was not so fortunate, and heavy branches crushed the portion hit, releasing chickens in her open yard, yet chickens never venture off too far. But dogs are unaware of certain things, like how someone could own a bird with wings. So though these homeless hens were hers to claim, the hunter Boone saw only open game. McMaster's sons were chopping at the tree, while her defenseless flock were roaming free. This turned the dog into a prowling striker that stalked the chickens like a crouching tiger. With instincts as unchangeable as skin, he pounced and pawed until he had one pinned. As cackling chickens fled, it drew attention. McMaster's sons looked on with apprehension. When once the frenzy of the chickens stopped, they saw the trotting dog with ears that flopped, as did the hen within his teeth-like shackles that clamped between her wattles and her hackles. As Clancy turned to see what caused the squawking, his father had dismounted and was walking, in angry, stomping charge right at the hound, whose body shrank to see his master frown. So Boone put down the chicken in the grass, then dropped his eyes, expecting Red to lash out like the man had done the night before, as Red Macree's right hand began to soar. The dog assumed a swat, though incorrect. Red grabbed him by the scruff behind his neck and dragged the dog up to the widow's sons. Their hands held axes, hips held holstered guns. And rumor had it they would use their piece with ruthlessness on either man or beast, when legging whiskey they called rebel wine, corn liquor, Mountain Dew, or simply shine. So Clancy hurried off the mule and ran. He scooped the chicken as he formed a plan and yelled, "Don't shoot him, boys! Don't shoot him, please!" which interrupted Red's apologies. The man looked like a weasel on his rears. He was unsightly slim with massive ears. His mousy face had coarse yet patchy whiskers. Tobacco teeth were stained by leaf and liquor. At Clancy, Tug McMaster smiled wide and said, "Don't fear the pistol at my side. Can't blame a hunting dog for being one. It is the thieving dog that gets the gun. And he ain't robbed no coop, so feel relief." He squatted, petting Boone. "Yous ain't no thief." And Clancy answered, "He's as good as the word." Red said, "We'll bring y'all another bird." Clancy added, "This dog done catched your supper." And he held out the bird. "All bleedin' plucker." And Tug replied, "As is will suit us fine. Y'all, we got some chicken now to brine." Still squatting, Tug inquired, "How old he be?" Red said, 6 month, I reckon." Well, golly, he awful big, ain't you, boy? Tug stood. I sure could use a tracking dog this good. I'll pay $2 for him here and now. That kind of money buys a lot of chow. When Tug held out the bills for him to take, Clancy could feel his heart begin to break. The money beckoned Red to give reply, as Clancy blinked the tear that blurred his eye. Tug broke the silence. Offers more than fair. $2? Y'all can't get that anywhere. Though Red Macree was sure that Tug was right, his turmoil shook him in their very sight. All color fled his skin like it was chased, as wrinkles bunched upon his worried face. Tug said, Y'all is quite attached, I see. He reached into his pocket. Make it 3. Just like the pamphlet Finn held out to him, 3 wrinkled dollars dangled in the wind. How could the man say no? Clancy knew $3 meant that they would make it through. It meant survival and that they'd prevail. But Red replied to Tug, He ain't for sale. Back on the mules and on the way to docks, the sounds of heavy hooves were thudding knocks, as Clancy fought the wonder deep within, and he just couldn't keep his question in. He asked, How come you didn't take it, Pa? More money than I reckon Boone could draw. More money than we ought be turning down. Don't make it worser, else I'll turn around. He waited for an answer all the same, but clopping hooves, not words, were all that came. So Clancy said, Well, thank you anyhow. The man removed his hat to wipe his brow. But Clancy needed answers. Pa, how come? Ain't you a windy woman, dadgum, and just as pesky as a gold-dern fly? Red paused. There be a slew of reasons why. You think McMaster cared how good he tracked? He only seen the winnings if Boone were backed. Another bloody dog the gamblers fought. Just used so Tug could rake the better's pot. I told you that a dog learnt from his pain. Same's true for men. It's how a man is trained. His pain protects him from the same mistake. High time I told you about your brother Jake. You told me, Pa. Securing up that haul, he slipped and, well, down come the Brex and all. I told you how it happened, but not why. Red moved his mouth as if it had grown dry. He cleared his throat. A damn thing money be. It skews the eyes to all a man'll see. Just like how liquor makes a man a fool. He grabs for more and plumb falls off his stool. Jake got the taste of money. Couldn't stop. Like tapping on the glass for every drop. McShay done knowed it too, but offered more to get a haul up to the Cassville store. We's had a week of rain. The roads was soup. McShay done upped the wage to find the dupe. No one would drive a haul out in that mess. He tripled up the wage. Jake said yes. Dadgummit, Jake. But see, it's all my fault. The night before he passed, we darn near fought. Last time I seen him, last words he said, it's worser being poor than being dead. I'm sorry, Jake. It's all my fault. You see, them's was my words that he said back to me. Yeah. I was the one done plant that awful seed. He was that tree, and I's that viney weed. Each purging tear came with a manly moan. He strained like he was wringing out a stone. Then unsuppressed, out from this man of brawn, came tears that were contagious as a yawn. So Clancy too gave way. He missed his friend. They'd never talk or laugh or play again. His father's tears made it okay to mourn. It was no longer weakness deeming scorn. The feelings that avoided him somehow had unexpectedly arrived, and now the numbness wore, which thawed the icy wall around his heart, creating waterfalls. Aback their plodding mules, Clancy and Red, were riding hunched as sorrow dropped their heads, in postures like they both were dead asleep, beneath the heavy sky that seemed to weep. Red wiped his tears down through his ruddy beard. At once his stern expression reappeared. "McShay give me a slip with bills inside. Jake's wages. As if his death was justified." He paused and shook his head. "I taked it, son. I taked it. About the weakest thing I ever done. And oh, the pain. Oh, it done learnt me well. Some money taked feels like you sold yourself. You want to know how come? Well, there. That's why. Ain't worth the pain, no matter what it buy. No money makes you have the pain no more. I learnt there's worser things than being poor."